or closet on the lowest floor of the building that you're in, and that is the safest place. So the whole goal here is to kind of put yourself between as many walls and things as possible, and certainly away from windows, should there be winds strong enough to cause any flying debris. And that is always a possibility with a tornado. Even a weak tornado that touches down very briefly, you can still have very, very strong winds, and you can get these pockets of enhanced wind damage. So that is potentially what we are looking at with this particular cell up in Warren County right now. So that's the tornado warning storm. The one farther south also rotating, a tornado possible with this. So we'll take another look at this one, give you the warning information. This is for Hamilton County. It does clip extreme northern Fulton County. Severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible. This is in effect until 9:15. And again, you kind of get a sense here. There is some rotation. This is the area of rotation. It's literally just north of Benson. There's Hope. The whole cell is moving off to the east, just to the south of Wells. And this also moving up in the direction of far northwestern Saratoga County into southwestern Warren County around Bakertown. Now, this storm is not producing as much lightning as the Warren County storm. So that's an indication that perhaps it's not as strong. That's a good thing. But still, let's clear that for you. We'll go back over to the velocity scan, and we'll show you very, very broad but very distinct area of circulation here. No question about it. So another storm track just to update you in case you're joining us here on CBS 6. This moving east-northeast at, again, about 25, 30 miles per hour. So this cell, which again has a severe thunderstorm with tornado possible warning on it, goes up into Hope at 9:03 West Day, at 9:19 Day at 9:25, and Stony Creek at 9:38. And there again is the circulation here. I've got part of it covered up by the storm track. Storm track's kind of the same color as the outbound velocities, but this is what we're looking at in terms of diagnosis, and it's right in there. That's your area of rotation, and again, it is fairly broad. We can't really see close to the ground because this area is fairly far from the Albany radar site. But that is a pretty good indicator here of, at the very least, the potential for damaging winds. So you can see how close and really right over the Hope area, lifting off in this direction. So that is going to clip far northwestern Saratoga County and likely get up into the Bakertown area in southwestern Warren County. Again, passing south of Wells, but you're likely in the rain and maybe getting some thunder and lightning, although, again, we're not seeing nearly as many lightning strikes with this storm, but there are a few just to the north and northeast of Wells. And the one up here in Warren County is still more of a prolific lightning producer, so we'll get an update on that with this tornado warning continuing. Put the polygon back up. Here's the warning information until 9:30 this evening. Or if the storm cell weakens some, National Weather Service will drop it. But at this point, tornado warning continues until 9:30. So back over to the velocity display, and we'll do another storm track here. Doesn't look as good, so that's definitely a good sign. It's a little bit more ragged here. It's not as tight as it was. Not that it was particularly tight to begin with, again, because we're looking somewhat high up into the atmosphere. But we kind of like to see this as an indicator that maybe the rotation, at least for now, perhaps is cycling down. And we very often will see these things kind of cycle, so they'll go up and down. And we've kind of seen that with the storms across central and western New York, which have been prolific in terms of rotation with multiple tornado warnings earlier in the day today. So there's the updated track. Thurman, 9:04, the Glen at 9:13, Riverbank at 9:28, Bolton at 9:32, and North Bolton at 9:35. There's our area of rotation. Again, just to the west of Thurman, coming into Thurman right now and heading off in this general direction. So this is a tornado warned storm. National Weather Service in Albany putting out that tornado warning until 9:30 in the evening up here in Warren County. More conventional display looking like this. That's the one cell, and there's the cell following it to the south. And then again, we have these additional cells producing heavy rainfall coming into western Hamilton, southern parts of Herkimer County. So these potentially will go on to produce some localized flooding across these southern Adirondacks coming up over the next couple of hours. And then we've got the strong storms down here in Otsego County. Fortunately, the warning has now expired, and Binghamton has not reissued at this point, but these are, well, they're pretty sizable storms, and they have had some rotation. Here's the animation, so you can kind of get a sense that this is lifting off to the east-northeast. That's Montgomery County. There's Cobleskill and Schoharie County. This is Delaware County down in here. So storms riding moving up the I-88 corridor, and they are producing an awful lot of lightning here, so it would not surprise me if we saw some pulsing up with these and the potential for some damaging wind. We had a supercell embedded within this, but there's been a lot of storm mergers here, so it looks a little bit unorganized right now. But again, the potential as this lifts up into Montgomery County, Mohawk Valley, not only will we get heavy rain, but the potential is there for some damaging wind and, of course, some frequent lightning as those storms lift off to the north. We'll kind of go forward here, so let me show you the instant Doppler 6 just to kind of give you perspective as to where this action is versus the capital region, which has been very, very quiet. Bennington County, Berkshire County down into Greene, Columbia, Ulster, Dutchess counties. We've been quiet all day. The atmosphere heavily caps those storms which tried to form earlier, just kind of got squelched. So this is the main action, and that continues to kind of lift off to the east, and it's still going to be probably a couple of hours before we get anything into the capital region. And as we get deeper into the evening, we kind of lose some of the energy in the atmosphere, and that should allow these storms to start weakening, at least to some extent. But they still could produce some localized heavy rainfall, and there still may be a wind threat. We know the tornado watch just before coming on the air has actually been extended until 11 o'clock at night for Otsego and Delaware counties. I would suspect that the watch will continue for the area that's been under a watch until about 11 o'clock tonight, areas from the capital region north and west, because we still have quite a few thunderstorms to actually talk about, and they are finally getting closer to us. That's the tornado warning storm, Warren County, and that's the storm with a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible, and that's in the far southeastern portion of Hamilton County, so clipping northwest Saratoga and southwest Warren counties. Those are the most concerning storms that we have on the radar right now. So back to that, and we'll kind of get an update on what is going on here across the north. Tornado warning continues. National Weather Service has not dropped it, so we'll take you back up to the Thurman area here. Again, does not look as good, so there are some signals this storm may actually be spinning down just a little bit. Velocity display not quite as tight as it was. Go to regular velocity here. This is storm relative velocity. Again, it is kind of messy, so that's something we absolutely like to see. That's the area of rotation, a little bit weaker now, but it is over Thurman. So severe weather threat now very high for Thurman. If not a tornado, we've got the potential for damaging wind here. Hail's not been a big issue with these storms. Supercells, rotating thunderstorms, supercells sometimes can produce large hail, but our atmosphere has just been so warm that a lot of that ice has just been kind of melting. So not a big threat here. So Thurman, the Glen, maybe just south of the Glen. There's Route 9. Here's the Northway, just to the east of Warrensburg. So eventually, in the next probably 20, 25 minutes, this storm will be crossing the Northway between Warrensburg and Riverbank, and there's Route 9 there. It gets there a little bit sooner, so we'll see the potential for damaging wind getting moved a little bit further east as the storm continues to track. So let's do an animation here. This is over the last hour. This is the loop of the radar here. Again, not looking as good. The hook isn't quite as well defined. Still the rotation, though, so maybe some weakening with the storm, which is definitely a good thing, but still that tornado warning continues at least for another couple of minutes. We're looking at a little bit after 9 o'clock at this hour, 9:03, in fact, on the camera clock, and this warning does go until 9:30, although it does look like the storm's actually going to outrun the polygon area here, so we're likely going to see this either being dropped or possibly even extended a little bit further east, a little bit deeper into Warren County. Lake George, at least the northern tip of Lake George, not too far from this, but it is heading off to the east-northeast, so maybe a threat as we get up towards Ticonderoga a little bit later in the evening. So that's the one storm. There's the second storm. This one's got a curl to it for sure. Back to the velocity display here, and there's our rotation area. This actually looks a little bit healthier than the northern storm, so we still have the warning with tornado possible. That's the rotation area here, so it is essentially right over Hope. So the potential is there for damaging wind in progress at Hope right now, if not a possible tornado. Again, it's fairly broad rotation, and that is lifting off to the east-northeast. So there's northwestern Saratoga County here. This would be probably just north and west of Day. This, of course, is the northern tip, the northern portions of the Great Sacandaga Lake, passing well north of Northampton here as it goes up into Saratoga County. So that is certainly a storm that's concerning as well. We'll see if that warning gets extended a little bit farther east. It is possible. We'll do a storm track on this just to give you the update as things have moved a little bit to the east from about Hope, tracking east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour or so. There are your towns. Hope right now, 9:05. West Day at 9:24. Day at 9:29. Stony Creek at 9:42. And Lake Luzerne, if this holds together, at 9:47. So that, again, is the southern storm that is also being warned with the circulation on it and a potential for a tornado. Storms are rotating a little bit more here across northern areas versus the south because we're actually pretty close to a warm front that's kind of stalled up in here. And anytime you get close to a front like that, you can enhance the low-level turning of the wind. And that's what we've been seeing, especially with a lot of these North Country storms. And that was very much expected in the forecast from yesterday, that we'd have much of the action north and west of the capital region through a good chunk of the day, and then later in the evening and through the overnight period, we'd see storms coming in from the west. But again, the deeper into the evening we get, we should see some weakening with this, but still potential is there for additional downpours and storms, fairly widespread here across the southern Adirondacks. That certainly could lead to some flooding issues over the next couple of hours. But there's our tornado warned storm. There's the storm over Hope with the rotation right now, and that storm also with a fairly high probability of producing at least damaging wind. Tornado possible. We'll see if that warning gets extended east. It's going to have to happen fairly soon because that storm's about ready to kind of move out of the warning polygon area, as is this one here. So I think within the next couple of minutes, we're going to see some kind of a change to the advisories up here across the north. And there we go. Well, the tornado warning has just been dropped, and that is because the storm has weakened. So we'll check the velocity one more time. And yeah, although we still have a circulation here, right over Thurman, it is pretty ragged, not as strong, not as distinct as it looked, even 10, 15 minutes ago. So the weakening trend with this northern storm does continue, and that is definitely a good thing. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, does continue for the area, and again, for the southern storm, severe thunderstorm warning does continue as well. So watch out northwest Saratoga and southwest Warren counties. Big lines of downpours and storms now into Herkimer, western Hamilton County. So again, flood threat with that. Just to reiterate, and then further south, we've got clusters of strong storms coming through Otsego County as well. So these are entering now far southwestern Montgomery County, will be affecting portions of western Schoharie County, coming across northern Delaware County over about the next 30 to 45 minutes. So things getting a little bit more active for us for sure. One more check on live instant Doppler 6 showing the action is still west of the capital region, but it is most certainly heading off to the east. All right, with the tornado warning now dropped for that Warren County storm, we're going to take a break right now. I'll continue to analyze things, and we'll come back, especially if any additional tornado warnings are issued, with additional updates throughout the night. Right now, we return to programming in progress.
On the Onfroy case. The video, it really tells the story.
The surveillance video shows us Jesse and his step-uncle. They parked their vehicle. They